was a fire outside in the engine. Everybody kind of started panicking, got up, started running to the back.
Tonight, we got new details about a very dangerous situation at Denver's International Airport. Passengers scrambling to escape a burning American Airlines plane. Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Frank Malacote. Everyone made it out of the plane alive. 12 had to be taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Tonight, federal investigators are moving in to figure out what caused that fire. Fox's Kennedy Hayes reports the pilot telling air traffic controllers the plane is flying slower than normal before it finally landed.
American Airlines said in a statement the plane experienced an engine-related issue, but no other specifics. As you can imagine, the passenger on that plane said it was a nerve-wracking experience. The plane took off from Colorado Springs, headed to Dallas. Not long after takeoff, the Boeing 737-800 had to turn around and divert to Denver when crew members reported, quote, engine vibrations, according to the Federal Aviation Administration. Once landing safely and pulling into the gate, video shows heavy smoke surrounding the plane. 172 passengers and 6 crew members were on board when part of the plane burst into flames. Another angle shows a couple dozen passengers evacuating on the plane's wing. One passenger says once they pulled into the gate, someone yelled, "There's a fire." Then everyone scrambled to get off the plane.
There was a lot of smoke filling up the cabin. Looked outside, couldn't see anything outside because it was just white smoke everywhere. A little bit claustrophobic. I probably was a little more nervous than some. And then we got down the slide, and then there was kind of a big group that went down after us.
No one was seriously hurt, and passengers tell me they were able to catch later flights to Dallas. NTSB has been on site investigating, getting a closer look at the plane and talking to witnesses. The agency says it will be releasing their preliminary report next month. At Denver International Airport, Kennedy Hayes, Fox News.
More than a dozen colleges here in the West are under federal investigation tonight. The Education Department announcing this morning it's investigating more than 50 universities nationwide for alleged discrimination. 14 are on the West Coast, including ASU, UC Berkeley, and U of W. The investigations are part of the Trump administration's effort to end diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Education Secretary Linda McMahon issuing a statement on the investigation saying, in part here, today's announcement expands our efforts to ensure universities are not discriminating against their students based on race and race stereotypes. Now, most of the new inquiries are focused on college partnerships with a nonprofit that helps students from underrepresented groups get degrees in business with the goal of diversifying our business world. ASU says it's no longer supporting that project. President of the American Association of Colleges and Universities says she is speaking with several school leaders about the inquiries. She told NPR, quote, they're feeling beleaguered. Now, these investigations are being launched a month after the Trump administration sent a letter to schools all across the country, warning those schools they could lose federal funding over race-based preferences in admissions, scholarships, or any aspect of student life.
The yeas are 54, the nays are 46. The bill is passed.
U.S. Senate passed a bill to avert a partial shutdown of the government at midnight tonight. 10 Democrats joining the Republicans to clear the threshold needed to pass the 6-month funding bill. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer is saying that a shutdown would hurt Americans, but House Democrats say that passage will just give Republicans leverage to make more cuts.
Makes cuts across the board, and it's going to be one of those things where people are going to look at this vote, and every bad thing that now happens with Doge and Donald Trump, Elon Musk, it can go back to this vote.
Senator Schumer of New York has led the Senate Democrats since Donald Trump first took office in 2016. But today, House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries repeatedly declined to answer questions about whether he had confidence in Schumer. And stocks surging on Wall Street today on this Friday on the hopes that a shutdown would be avoided. But the rally was still not enough to avoid a loss for the entire week. The markets have been beaten down by trade war fears from Washington. Today, the Dow jumped 674 points, up nearly 2%. Good news, the NASDAQ was up more than 2.5%. With a 451-point climb, S&P 500 added 117 points. Now, despite those gains, the market still notched their fourth straight losing week in a row. Well, Gene Hackman's estate is calling to keep the late actor's death investigation records in New Mexico sealed. The estate is asking a court to not release autopsy and investigative reports to the public. The estate says the records should remain sealed under our 14th Amendment. That will allow the family to grieve in private. TMZ says the timing of the couple's deaths could also impact what happens with Hackman's will and his $80 million estate.
Meanwhile, on the sidelines, you have Gene's kids saying, well, wait a second, if he left everything to Betsy and Betsy is deceased, it should all go to us as the next in line, as the rightful heirs to his estate. But they may have to actually get a lawyer to put in some work to get that money.
Authorities say Hackman died of heart disease, while Arakawa, his wife, died from the hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. Investigators believe a crime ring made up of people mostly from Southeast Europe is operating in the West. Fox 13's Shira Matsuzawa reports police in Arlington, Washington suspect the ring is running a variety of scams.
You might be wondering how these criminals are able to do that. Well, police say they really prey on people's emotions, and they'll use any story and even children to do it. It's happening up and down the I-5 corridor, outside of stores like Safeway and Walmart, as well as outside the Pilot Travel Center. A group targeting, stealing, and scamming people going in and out of businesses.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think they need to be, arrested or kicked out of here.
They'll take whatever they can get. They'll take $20, they'll take $100, they'll take $1,000.
Arlington police say the FBI identified the group as part of Romanian criminal organizations. They say these individuals enter stores in groups, distract people, then steal things. They also pose as stranded drivers faking medical emergencies or using children in a ploy to sell fake gold jewelry.
I feel like if people are buying gold out of a parking lot, that's probably not legitimate.
At Lizzie's Jewelry,
We can see that it's fake, and the customers really believe that it's real. They think they have something that's worth $1,000, and it's not worth anything.
it's their business to spot the real from the fake. Co-owner Jimmy Metz says this is something they've been dealing with on and off again for 5 years.
Sometimes 5 people a day for a week or two.
He says the group plays on people's emotions. The innocent shoppers will buy the fake jewelry, then come into their store to sell it.
They don't care about jewelry. They didn't really want a ring. They didn't want the necklace. They just are doing it because they wanted to help these people get to their next town or whatever their story is.
Police now urging people who live in Arlington to stay alert.
Please tell all of your friends and family members, don't get sucked into the scam.
And Arlington police say if you see any suspicious activity, always report it and call 911. In Arlington, Shira Matsuzawa, Fox 13 News.
Up next, Beatle great Paul McCartney joining the fight to get a very popular Bay Area company to change its ways. When we come back, how this could help put an end to surcharges on some cups of coffee. And coming to a phone near you, some new technology you can use at airports. How it promises to get you through security a whole lot quicker.
And in weather, here's our live camera looking out toward our Oakland camera in the San Francisco Bay Area. Some rain today and some more rain chances for parts of the West Coast as we do move into the weekend. We'll have the update coming up.
Former outspoken Wyoming Senator Alan Simpson has died at the age of 93. His family issuing a statement today saying he passed away this morning after struggling to recover from a broken hip. The Republican was known for his good humor, his quick wit, and bridging gaps between party lines. A political moderate by current standards, Simpson's 3 terms as senators from 1979 to 1997 covered the Republican Party's rejuvenation under then President Ronald Reagan. Well, we now know voters will be asked to fill the seat of late Arizona Congressman Raul Grijalva. Today, Governor Katie Hobbs announced a special election will be held on July the 15th. Congressman Grijalva died yesterday from cancer treatment complications. Democrat was 77 years old. The House district he represented covers most of Pima County, along with parts of Phoenix and Tucson. As mentioned, the primary election to fill a seat, that'll happen July the 15th. The general election will be on September the 23rd. We are seeing a lot of new snow in the west today. Images posted online show how lake effect snow had giant snowflakes coming down near Salt Lake City this morning. Lake effect snow forms when very cold air passes over a lake's warmer waters, and voila. This causes some lake water to evaporate, then fall back as snow. And some more snowy scenes in Wyoming, a storm system crossing the state, dumping snow in areas about 100 miles west of Casper. Meteorologists don't expect this snow to stick for very long, though. And now to Arizona. Some live images from Flagstaff, where you can see some snowfall piled up along the city streets there and a little bit up on the roof, perhaps. Fox 10's Nicole Crucine bundled up to experience the wintry conditions.
Well, good afternoon from snowy Flagstaff. We're here along Route 66. We've got a train coming through and a lot of snow on the ground here in Flagstaff. And something we really want to point out here, we saw the winter storm go through on Thursday, and today people digging out. We've seen a lot of snow plows. Here's what we wanted to point out though. Check this out on the ground. This is solid ice, and we're here along one of the main sidewalks down Route 66 here in downtown Flagstaff, and you just really want to make sure that you're careful even if you're walking around in this area. But let's talk a little bit about the driving conditions. So we know roads pretty slushy. The street departments have been doing an excellent job of getting out with snow plows. We've seen people since before the sun was even up this morning working on the roads. So you are seeing a lot of slushy road conditions, but some of the highways and some of those rural areas up here in the high country, conditions much worse. There's been some major roadways that have been closed again today, and we just want people to stay off the roads if you can, if you're traveling back and forth from down in the valley to the high country. Just really be careful out there because, again, some major roadways are closed today due to this winter storm. We're going to continue to follow this snow and see if there's any more winter weather heading for the high country this year. We started off with such a dry winter, and now a winter wonderland here. Reporting in Flagstaff, Nicole Crucine, Fox 10 News.
Well, March definitely delivering those storms. That storm all kind of linked up with the system that moved into the San Francisco Bay Area down towards Southern California, and some activity in portions of Arizona, as you can see the radar imagery over the past few hours, and still some coverage showing up on the radar as well. If we show you one snow report in Flagstaff showing you 11 inches of a snowfall, so really piling up for portions of Arizona. In fact, we still have this as we show you the maps and the warnings. A winter weather advisory is in place for tonight and into early tomorrow morning. As we check out the view across California, another active day here in the Bay Area with some rain showers for San Francisco and also down toward Southern California, some scattered rain showers as well. And then up in the Pacific Northwest, here you can see from Medford, Portland, and Seattle, we're either tracking some rain or some snowfall. In fact, the winter weather advisory begins actually, in fact, the winter storm warning Saturday morning and into Sunday as well. So all this coverage here for portions of the Cascades. Snowfall will be picking up. This was Seattle today, showing you some clouds out there. Temperature of 49 degrees in Seattle with all that cloud cover. San Francisco picked up nearly ½ an inch of rainfall with temperatures in the upper 50s. And then in Phoenix, we're showing you that cloud cover throughout the day. Did see some light rain reports late in the afternoon hours. 58 degrees in Phoenix today. Here's a setup on the satellite. One system is moving on out. You can see a little bit of a ridge out here developing in the Pacific. Another storm will impact the Pacific Northwest for tomorrow. As far as current numbers out there right now, it is 50 degrees in Las Vegas. Reno currently checking in 40, and then some 40s for both Portland and in Seattle. Here is the weather story for tomorrow. Rainfall likely for Seattle, so that's where the storms will be focused. For tomorrow, San Francisco, partly sunny skies. It looks like lots of sunshine returning for Southern California, also into Phoenix as well for tomorrow. Temperatures a little bit of a bump in those numbers. So here is the forecast models. We take this into your Saturday, and clearly the pronounced area picking up the stormy weather will be up in Oregon and Washington. It looks like some rain showers could drift in to Northern California. That's for your Saturday, and then this will finally move to the south a little bit in Northern California on Sunday, especially by Sunday night. So here is the forecast over the next 3 days. We have those rain clouds for Seattle, also into Sunday as well. For San Francisco, some clouds moving in first thing tomorrow morning, and then we will bring in some wind on Sunday and maybe some rain chances by Sunday night. A mixture of sun and clouds for Southern California. In fact, look at Phoenix temperatures as we focus in on Arizona. A bit of a warm up. It could be approaching 80 degrees as we do head into the Monday forecast. So some warmth on the way for portions of the west. Still that cold pattern remains in place for other portions, especially up to the north. Frank.
Thank you, Mark. Well, PETA and Sir Paul McCartney, they are joining forces on a campaign to get California-based Pete's Coffee to remove their plant-based milk surcharge of 80 cents a cup. PETA argues this encourages people to choose dairy over vegan options, although plant-based milks have traditionally been more expensive to produce and sell. Starbucks dropped its surcharge last November. Dunkin' Donuts did the same this past week. Customers outside the first ever Pete's in Berkeley say they'd support the company following this suit.
People who feel strongly about it will pay for it. So I can understand why they haven't taken it off, but I do think they should eliminate the cost.
Yeah, I think they should. I mean, I don't see why, cow-based milk or animal-based milk should be prioritized more than anything else.
PETA also has protests planned at Pete's around California. The first schedule is for next Thursday. Well, some airports in the West are starting to use new technology that could save you a little bit of time getting through security. Fox 5's Tony Shin shows us how it all works.
It's rush hour at San Diego International Airport, as in travelers like Ben Hauk are rushing to their gate to make their flight. But first, you got to get through the security checkpoint, which could take more time than you thought it would.
That was me actually on the way here, out of JFK to San Diego. I was the last one boarding the flight, trying to get them to keep the doors open.
Now the TSA is counting on the mobile driver's license, called MDL, to make the identification process quicker and more secure. It's part of the latest generation of credential authentication technology, or CAT2. First, you have to download the DMV mobile wallet app and follow the steps to create your digital ID.
You have an opportunity at no cost to download the digital ID into either your Apple Wallet, your Google Wallet, or your DMV wallet.
When you get to the security checkpoint, you scan your digital ID electronically into this unit that verifies that it's real. And at the same time, a photo is taken of you. Using facial matching technology, it compares your facial features to the driver's license picture. All of it done within seconds without ever handing over your actual identification.
It is able to tell the TSA officer what flight you're on and your screening status. So they'll know, for example, if the traveler is eligible for TSA pre-check, all through this streamlined process.
Some travelers might be worried about what happens to that real-time photo that is taken of you.
Those photos are never stored. In fact, they're deleted the next time another traveler comes up to the unit.
TSA officials say the goal is to streamline the interaction between the TSA agent and the traveler.
The good news is not only is it accepted here in San Diego, but throughout multiple airports in California and airports across the country.
Including airports in 14 other states like Hawaii, Ohio, and New York, where Ben Hauk is heading home. He says if this new technology makes the security process even more efficient, he's definitely going to use it.
That's something that would ease anxiety. Knowing that you can get to the airport and fly through would be something that would be huge.
Tony Shin, Fox 5 News.
Coming up, to some, it's just March 14th. To others, it's Pie Day. How it boosts pizza sales and gets younger students excited about STEM. That's coming up. And how about a road trip from Fairbanks to Nome on the back end of a sled in the Alaska wilderness? We got a winner in the Iditarod when we come back. Welcome back. Today, of course, is March the 14th. It's Pie Day. Fox 13's Alejandra Guzman shows us how educators in the Pacific Northwest are hoping celebrating the mathematical constant will encourage more students to love learning.
Everywhere you see, right? And so it's this natural phenomenon that it's the golden ratio.
All day, you can spot pizza sales. You can celebrate by having a slice of your favorite pie, but it's not all fun and games. 3.14, or Pie Day, brings attention to the importance of math.
We're actually seeing scores plummet in a big way.
Nan Ma, CEO of Numerate, a hybrid AI STEM learning platform who partners with over 60,000 educators to offer AI-enhanced tutorials designed to meet students' learning styles, says math scores across the country are at 40-year lows.
Certainly learning loss from the pandemic is a contributing factor, but then also with the rise of what's happening now with AI, you are actually getting a lot of cheating that's happening, lack of critical thinking that's developing.
Washington is no different. According to the latest Nation's Report Card, last year, fourth graders scored 238 on average in math. That's just 1 point above the national average. There's not a big difference in reading either. Eighth graders hit 259, the national average, 257.
There is an overarching lack of accountability in terms of ensuring that every single student gets the marks and grades and they're actually learning.
Classroom sizes are also a growing concern, making it harder for teachers to give students individualized attention. Not to mention, the U.S. Department of Education is down nearly 50% after the Trump administration made cuts on Tuesday, which Nan says could impact educational equity.
Now, I think some of the biggest risks is around Title I schools and funding for lower income students.
If these trends continue, Nan fears many students will fall behind by more than a grade, which we're already seeing at the Highland and Auburn school districts. The stark reality is we're now lagging, especially in STEM. In the long term, the CEO says lack of critical thinking can hinder societal advancement. So I had to ask, is it too late to fix our education system?
I would say it's too late. I think what's very important is that we have to make sure that there is equal opportunity for every single student.
If your student is struggling with math, Nan says it's all about practice. Not everyone can afford private tutors. That's where Numerate's technology can help bridge the gap.
The Numerate platform walks that student through that problem in a visual format versus spoon-feeding the answer to the student.
Alejandra Guzman, Fox 13 News.
And finally tonight, Jesse Holmes, a former reality TV star, won the longest ever Iditarod trail sled race today. Tired and a little bit cold, but there he is. The Life Below Zero star was first to cross the finish line in Gold Rush town of Nome, Alaska. The race began March the 3rd in Fairbanks. Holmes finished in 10 days, crossing more than 1,000 miles across the Alaska wilderness. He will now take home $57,000 for winning that race. Bravo. Want to thank you for joining us tonight on this Friday night. You can stay up to date on all the stories we covered. Go online to westcoastwrap.com and stream all your shows on our smart TV by downloading the Fox Local app. Have a great Friday night, everybody. I'm Frank Malika.